Slimehouse TV, myself Theo Kane, hope everybody is good. Hold tight everybody that's locked in, the Slime Alliance, the Slime Renegades and everyone else that's supporting. So in today's episode, I'm going to let you know how we got on at the recent Stafford Toy Fair. A fair that, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have the best experience at. It has to be said, I walked round with a face like thunder for the majority of this event. So sit back, get comfy, and I'll tell you all about how this day was one of the worst Toy Fair experiences that I ever had, ever. Let's do this! So Stafford is a toy fair that we've been to a couple of times now. It's about an hour and 45 minutes drive from where we are in Sheffield, so not too far away. And although it's never blown me away, I was hoping that this one was going to be good for a couple of reasons. So usually the big Christmas event is at the NEC, which if you watch these videos regularly or you know anything about the UK toy scene, it's the biggest and best event of the year and everyone goes to it. But this year they were having it at Stafford, so I was hoping that most of the sellers that would normally be at the NEC were going to be here instead. There's also room to have 3 whole halls open at this event. They've only ever had 2 open while I've been there, but I figured if they were ever going to do that, it was going to be the Christmas one. I'd also been told that this was a sold out event, so even more reason to check it out and hopefully find some treasure. Even if it did turn out to be a bit of an underwhelming day though, whenever the Retro Ghetto and the Slimehouse boys get together, it's always an awesome time. So this was a link up that we was all really looking forward to. Normally when we get to these toy fairs, if you watch our videos on the regular, you'll know that we like to get there for the 8 AM early bird entry. This gets you in while everybody's setting up. There was some crazy weather though that morning and a lot of flooding, which means we had to take some diversions, getting us there for about 8:45. By this point, Callum and Kev and our friend Joff had already done a couple of laps of the venue because they'd been there way before us and it was already a little busier than I would have liked it to be. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I like to get to these events so early. Obviously, it's nice to have first pickings and see stuff as it's been put out on the table, but also the longer you leave it, the more people come in, and then if you get to 10 AM, then they start letting the general public in. It gets really crowded, and it's not only harder to spot stuff, but it's also harder to film as well. Obviously, the more people that are there, the more the stalls are getting swarmed, and it all just gets a bit chaotic. Now, we've been coming to these events for years. We've got lots of regular friends at them, lots of people that you'll recognise from previous videos, and one of the first people that I ran into when we got there was Lawrence from Toy Planet, who as always had an epic packed stall with lots of dope stuff, including some real nice Seabots, one of which I needed and didn't pick up, so kinda regret not grabbing that guy, and if he's got it the next time I see him, I reckon that one will definitely be coming home with me. It were also cool to see Chaz, aka Retro Collector 1990, one of the most loyal Slimehouse supporters who brought me a bag of awesome gifts, including some 90s Super Soaker bits, which definitely softened the blow of me not being able to buy that one off that guy at Doncaster a few months back. Vintro was also in the house. This is a guy that always has really good stuff on his stall, it never disappoints, so I always look forward to seeing what he's brought with him. He also had something that really caught my eye, a Toxic Crusaders Turf Surfer. Now, seeing as though recently I got that hideous hovercraft, it's really given me the impetus to pick up the other Toxic Crusaders vehicles that I don't have. And I really like this one, it almost feels like it's a character in itself with having Tox's face sculpted in the front of the sail. This one was missing a few pieces, which kind of put me off as I don't want to be searching around for a bunch of obscure parts for it. But after getting home and giving it a few days, I realised that I had quite a few pieces in my bits box that might fit on this thing. I have since hit up Vintroid and asked what parts it needs, so who knows, it might even end up in my collection after all. It were also good to see a couple of the other regular boys, including John, aka Big Kid Collectibles, who was there with a couple of tables all stacked with that good stuff, including a bunch of carded Kenner Jurassic Park figures and Ghostbusters, some Playmates Ninja Turtles and Hasbro wrestlers, and just all that classic late 80s, early 90s stuff that he's known for always having available. The nicest man in toys / flooring was also there, Dave Blade, who you'll have seen many times on this channel, most recently working on the new Slimehouse studio that we've been building. Finally getting that flooring down.
Just.
His stall was rammed with 80s and 90s goodness, including a lovely Cowboys of Moomessa Sheriff Terrible and a Playmates Ninja Turtles Sandstorm. It was also cool to speak to Dave Blade because we've got some more work to do in the studio in a few weeks, so it was nice to touch base in person and make some plans on what we need to do in the studio next time he's up in Sheffield.
Floors are us.
So sharing a stall with Dave Blade was also Robbo, aka Robbo Toys. This is a guy that you will have seen me cover his stall many times at the NEC. A couple of NEC events back I was filming his stall and he's the guy that had all of the carded Ninja Turtles Playmates all really nice and mint. So it's always obviously nice to see what he's got in his stall because he just brings that fire every single time. But one of the reasons I was looking forward to seeing Robbo is because I brought him a gift. And it wasn't anything too special or anything like that, but recently, if you've been watching my videos, you will have known that over Christmas I recorded a video of a studio update where I made a figure from an old movie called Arena. And the reason I was making that figure is because I got sent a Blu-ray box set from Arrow with the Arena movie in it, and when I posted that on my Instagram, he was the first person to comment and say, "I love Arena." Now this is a super obscure movie that I love and I've always loved, but it's not very often I meet anybody that's even ever heard of it. And because he obviously mentioned the fact he liked it, we got talking in the comments and stuff, and I thought, when I make that figure, I'm going to create one for him. So basically, I brought Robbo one of the spare prints that I had from when I was creating this thing, trying to get the sizing right and stuff. I just thought that he'd appreciate it, and yeah, he seemed to really like it, so that was awesome. I get given a lot of stuff at these events. It's nice to give something back now and again.
Take whatever you want.
While we were at Rob's stall as well, I noticed that he had a box of minifigures with a load of muscle inside. If you've been watching any of my toy hunts recently, you'll know that at the minute I'm trying to complete a full set of muscle figures. My friend Bill from the channel Bill Making Stuff also collects these. So when I saw this tub, obviously it caught my attention. So I cleared out the whole box, taking out all of the muscle that I could find, and because I'd just given him the Arena Horn figure, Robbo very kindly said that I could just keep all of them. So that was very kind of him. That's lots more for my collection, and hopefully a couple of swaps for Bill as well. Now you remember at the start of this video where I said I was hoping that the back room was going to be open this time? Well, guess what? It wasn't. Now I know that they do use this room for unloading, but this is the third time that I've been to this fair now where this room hasn't been utilised. And I know that they do open this room because it's been open before at previous events, it's just never been open at any of the ones that I've been to. And like I mentioned earlier, the big event that they normally have just a few days after Christmas is at the NEC, which is massive. So if this is going to be the new venue that we use instead of the NEC, then having that extra room open at the back would at least make this feel like a bit more of a decent NEC alternative. This is also not down to the fact that there wasn't enough stalls to fill it. This was a sold out event. We spoke to a few people there, including Ian from the Vintage Toy Monster, a good friend of ours that you'll notice from many previous toy hunts, and he was saying that he wanted to get a stall and there was no space available. So it's not even down to the fact that there wasn't enough people to fill up that back room, it's just for whatever reason they closed it off again. Now, whether it's for reasons that I just mentioned or the fact that it's so close to Christmas or whatever, it felt like there were a lot of regular traders that weren't in attendance at this event. There's a lot of people that weren't there that usually are there at Stafford that I look forward to seeing and checking out what they brought with them. It felt very train heavy as well, this fair, which is not a new thing. I've been coming to these fairs since I was a little kid, and back then they were like 80% trains. So I do expect it sometimes, but there were so many trains at this event. There were some whole rows that I didn't even bother looking down because I put my head in and they were just full of train tracks and train carts, and that's just not me. Like, if that's you, that's cool. That's just not what I come to a toy fair looking for personally. Also, because we got there a bit late, we'd only managed to do one loop of the whole venue before the general public started coming in. And for some reason, when this fair starts letting people in at 10 AM, it just gets a bit too crowded for me. Now, I don't know whether this is because the rows of stalls seem closer together at Stafford, or if it's because in this venue, the ceilings are a lot lower than places like the NEC and Doncaster, and it just has that effect. But for whatever reason, when Stafford fills up, it just feels a bit crowded. And this might all seem like super hyper-focused and weird and it's just me, but it's not. Like, I've spoken to lots of people who also feel this way. And I love that they do get busy. I love that after all these years, people still want to come to the toy fair. Just when it gets crowded, that's when I want to leave. Now, none of this stuff is me complaining, they're just little niggles that I have with the event. I still love going to Stafford, I'll keep going to Stafford, I'll keep going to all these events. There's just little things now and again that niggle me about it and I like to speak about them. I'll admit though, like I said at the start of this video, something happened to me at this fair and it made all these little things that normally wouldn't really be an issue seem 100 times worse to me. And for me to explain exactly what it is that happened, I need to rewind all the way back to the start of this video. Now, like I mentioned at the start of this video, there was a lot of flooding and rain this morning, so we had to take a few diversions, which were going to get us to Stafford a little bit later than I would have liked to. So I'm already a bit annoyed because I'm thinking, oh, we're going to get there a bit late, but whatever. So I'm filming my little intro like I always do when it starts in the car, and I'm saying Slimehouse TV, myself Theo Kane, hold tight Bentlegs on wheels just on our way to Stafford, and I'm filming it all on my little gimbal camera, my little DJI Pocket 2. Now, I've only had this camera for a couple of months. I love it. I use it for everything. So I'm filming my intro, and once I'm done, I put it on my lap and I continue talking like I do, and we make our way to the event. So we finally get there. We head into the car park. I look out the window and I see Retro Ghetto and Kev and Job waiting for us, and we're waving and that kind of thing. And I'm so eager to get out of the car that I step up, forget the camera's on my lap, and it falls out onto the floor and crashes on the concrete. Now, I said crashes, but I'm obviously exaggerating. It fell onto the floor and it wasn't even that high, like 30 centimeters. And I used to use a GoPro attached to a Karma grip, and I had that for years. And I threw that everywhere and it never broke, never got anything more than a scuff on it, always worked fine. So when this dropped onto the floor, I didn't really think that much of it. So I picked it up and I turned it on and I passed it to Bentlegs, and I'm getting my camera and my bag and everything like that. And he tells me that it's not working. So I start looking at it and it's doing like these weird like jittery movements. It's spinning all over the place. It's turning on and then turning straight back off. So instantly I'm thinking, okay, it's not the end of the world. I'll look on Google, I'll look on YouTube, I'll find a quick tutorial on how to fix it. It only dropped like 30 centimeters onto the floor. It can't have destroyed it. So I tried to get on my phone, no signal. There's no signal at Stafford. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to have to try and get it working as we walk around the fair. But instantly I start panicking because this means that not only am I potentially going to have to buy a brand new camera, and I've only had this thing like 3 months and it costs £500, but also I'm not going to be able to film this event properly. And the thing with me, I always try and stay in good spirits. Even if I've got something that's bothering me in the back of my mind, I just try and smile and get on with it and think, well, it's not that bad, it'll get sorted. But I couldn't get on the internet to try and fix it. I couldn't obviously film any of the wide shots that I normally get because the camera wasn't working. I was turning it on and it was turning off after about 7 seconds. So I give Bentlegs my phone and said, just film as much as you can on my phone. It's not going to look as good, but it is what it is. The show must go on kind of thing. But obviously, when you think that you're probably going to have to buy a new camera for £500, you're not going to want to spend any money at a toy fair. And I'll be honest, I wasn't even that bothered about coming to Stafford. I was only going because I wanted to link up with Bentlegs and Retro Ghetto and Kev and Joff and just have a good day with the boys. The toy fair was like an extra for me. I wasn't that buzzing to go. So I'm thinking, I've gone to this toy fair that I weren't even that bothered about going to. I brought my camera within 3 seconds of getting there. I can't film on it. I'm going to have to buy a new one. And also I'm at a toy fair where I can't buy anything because I'm just going to be stressing thinking that I've got to spend £500 when I get home. £500 that I hadn't even got, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, instantly I was just there stressing, and the more I thought about it and the more I tried to get it work, I was just spiraling and spiraling more and more. And people are coming up to me and saying, oh, nice one Theo, I love your videos. People are saying hello. So then I'm paranoid that I've got a face like Thunder and that I'm Mardy and that I'm grumpy, and people are going to be meeting me for the first time and thinking, oh, Theo's a dick. I went to talk to him and he was an arsehole. And like I said, that's not the person that I want to be when I go to these toy fairs. I want to be happy. These are my days out. I was looking forward to this more than Christmas. So yeah, me trying to also have a good day was also putting pressure on me. And yeah, overall, just not having a great time at this fair because of this. And because I was thinking about that, it also meant that I wasn't concentrating on the filming. So a lot of my shots were out of focus. I forgot to even turn the microphones on, so none of the audio was picked up on any of the cameras other than my phone. And I didn't even see that until we were leaving, so it was like, well, all this footage that we've even tried to film, that I've tried to get into a better mind frame, isn't even usable. So this whole day's just been a write-off. It's a bit story at video. Today's a proper miserable one, proper Mardy one. Brought my camera. And everyone I saw, I told about it, and they said I had face on all day.
I'm just glad it wasn't me.
And it's not even coming from like a Mardy and grumpy point of view for the sake of it. Like, I put my heart and soul into YouTube. I want these videos to look the best that they can be. I want people to know that when we turn up to a toy fair and we film it, it's going to look paramount, it's going to sound good, it's going to look good, they're going to be the best UK toy fairs on the internet. And when stuff like this happens, it just like cancels out all of that. So yeah, that's what happened that made this one of the worst toy fair experiences ever for me. Which then brings me back to what I was talking about earlier, where we were just about to leave because it were getting too crowded. So as we were leaving the toy fair, there were one row that I felt like I'd not properly checked out yet, and I wanted to have a look on it before I left because there were one store that looked like it had some colourful stuff on it, some minifigures and that kind of thing, the type of thing that draws my eye. So I went over and got talking to the guy behind the stall, and it turns out that he's a Slime Alliance member. Now, whenever I meet anybody that supports my Patreon, it always puts a smile on my face, so it was very nice to hear. And he said to me, I heard you were looking for old Warhammer skeletons. Are you still after some of them old undead Warhammer skeleton warriors? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I've been looking for them for about 6 months. And he says, okay, well, I've got something that you might want. And he pulls out not just any box of old skeleton warriors, but the exact box that I've been looking for. So instantly, I'm like, whoa, bro, like, you've just pulled out the perfect thing that I could want to buy. I've just brought my camera this morning, I've had a really crap day, and I don't really want to spend any money, but if I'm going to spend some money, knowing that I've got to spend £500 when I get home probably to buy a new camera, it's going to be on some old Warhammer skeletons. How much do you want for them? And he said, I don't want anything for them, they're a gift. And in that moment, I'm not going to say that it completely turned my frown upside down because my camera was still broken, but it definitely made me feel way happier than I had all that morning. Like, I've been looking for these for like 6 months now. I've been talking about it at every toy fair that I go to. If anybody's got any of these, then please let me know. And he had the exact box that I needed. And not just any box, the exact one that I wanted to go with the rest of the ones that I've been collecting. So, big ups to that guy because you definitely made my day. And I certainly left the toy fair with a bigger smile on my face than I did walking into it. And as I was leaving the venue, I just kind of started telling myself, do you know what? Your camera's broken. You might be able to fix it, you might not. But either way, it is what it is. Don't let it ruin the rest of your day. You've been given some really nice things today. You've been shown nothing but love and kindness and respect all day, like you do at all of these toy fairs. And if it means that every now and again something happens to you, and this time you have to buy a camera, then it just is what it is. You get a lot of kindness, you get a lot of good karma, and it could be a lot worse. So just suck it up and deal with it. So by the time I got back in the car, I thought, do you know what? I don't get to see Callum and Kev that often. We're going to go to a few more places and have a fun day. And I don't want to let the fact that my camera's broken put a downer on the rest of it. So yeah, I just kind of accepted it. And do you know what? As soon as I told myself that in my head, I instantly started to have a better day. We went to Kex or CEX, whatever you want to call it, because you can't go anywhere with Kev and Callum without going to one of them places, and they got some games. We then went and had some food in an old cinema. I had pizza and chips in this big old venue that used to be a cinema, and that was awesome. And then we went to this wargaming shop called Two Goblins, which I didn't film inside, but I got some more bits for some stuff that I'm working on at the minute, and ended up having a really good day with the boys. It's always such an awesome time when I get together with them guys. Like I said, when the Slime Alliance and the Ghetto Gang get together, it's always an awesome time. So really glad that I made a conscious decision to snap out of that stupid mind frame that I were in and didn't let the fact that this camera had broke ruin the rest of the time that I had with them. And do you know what the maddest thing is? By the time I'd got home and I had a chance to sit down and let my brain rest and look at a YouTube tutorial and Google what the problem might be, I managed to fix it. And all the problems and all the stress from the whole day were completely alleviated, and I felt like I'd been through a roller coaster of emotions because of this little thing. Which, yeah, now before you say it, I'm going to get insured so that it doesn't happen again. And if it does happen again, I can just buy a new one without having to fork into my own pocket. But yeah, it works now. Ugh! So yeah, obviously a bit of a different episode this one in terms of Toy Fair hunts. I like to do the other ones a bit more formulaic, but this one it just wasn't possible. But I hope that even though the camera was broken and we had to use a phone and we didn't get a lot of sound picked up and that kind of thing, you still feel like we got decent coverage. It's my birthday on the 4th of January, which if I drop this video when I hope to drop it will either be tomorrow or the day after. I'm going to be 36, and I thought that I was going to have to do a call to action and get everybody to send me money so that I could buy a new camera. But fortunately it's fixed, so yeah, I don't have to. as always, I hope that you enjoyed this video today. We also covered the Doncaster Toy Fair a couple of days after this, got some nice footage there, so I hope you're looking forward to that video as well, because that's hopefully going to be dropping this week. I want to get them out while it's still relevant. It's the 1st of January while I'm recording this, so I want to get them all out so that we can start 2024 with a nice clean slate. I'm also going to drop a wicked new studio episode soon. We've done loads since that last update, so I'm looking forward to showing you that. I'm also going to be fixing together them skeleton warriors that I got in this episode as well in that studio update, so yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'd love to know if you saw anything in this footage that we filmed at Stafford that you thought were cool, that we might have missed, that you would have not been able to leave without coming home with. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you did come up to me at this event and you said hello and took a picture with me or anything like that, and you felt like I were a bit dismissive or I had a face like a smacked horse, then now you know why, and I sincerely apologise. And if you see me again, I should be in a lot better mind frame than this time. But as always, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that's took the time to watch this video today. With all the stuff that you can be watching on YouTube, it really means a lot that you come back here constantly every single week and watch my videos on Slimehouse TV. You can join the Patreon down below if you want to help support future projects and toy hunts and videos like this. I'm also on Instagram and Discord. I'll put all the links down in the comments below. And also make sure that you check out Retro Ghetto's video, the one that he posted, because he was also filming at this event as well. You can see my Mardy face in a lot more shots than you can in this video. So yeah, joking aside, go watch that because he got some great coverage of the fair and the event and the whole day as well. So with all that being said, I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV. I hope you've enjoyed this video today, and I'll catch you in the next episode for that Doncaster Toy Hunt with a special guest that we ran into as well, which was awesome. But until then, I'm gone. Pow!